is a Monday?
It's ostensibly a federal holiday today, Brad. I didn't realize this until about 10:30 last night.
Yeah, when you texted me, and then
I know. I'm sorry. Speaking of which, I probably should just say this kind of. Who cares? So I texted you.
I like how you try to rationalize like this could come out poorly, but
No.
whatever. I'm gonna
It's
say
just
it.
like I was like, no, there's nothing private here, but it's not going to say. So when I texted you, it said, it's not there now. Obviously, it said something like, Brad has paused his notifications.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, of course. Like you're not going to get this till the morning. I'm like, fine. So I'm like, blah blah blah, whatever. And then it said something like I could break through your notifications. And I was like, oh man. I'm like, I am not doing
a lot
that
of
to
power.
Brad. Like, no, because that's obviously if there's an emergency or something,
Right.
And I'm like, this is an element of trust that I will not. Then I was like, oh fuck, no, I didn't do it. But I.
Well, the funny thing is so usually I'm very so that's nighttime mode or whatever. It's not dark mode,
sure.
but
Like
it's
sleep mode or whatever.
Yeah.
Sure.
If you set your bedtime or whatever, because
So
usually I
swear to God, I got to turn this off. This drives me crazy. Tell me if this is how it starts for you. You're sitting there or whatever, and then your phone goes, dun, 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 time to go to sleep.
Yep.
It's like, come on, Nanny, what are you doing?
But this time I was actually awake when it came through because I was watching the Bengals. Usually I'm in bed by like 10:15.
Oh yeah, okay, right.
And I even saw it, and like a critical thing was happening in the game, and I'm like, "What stupid holiday is Monday? They have Bengals!" Like,
I know.
Anyways, the Bengals won, so there's we beat the elite Giants.
Maybe that's why I thought of you. I actually was sitting in front of a TV when this happened.
This was a horrifically boring game. Like, the Bengals' high-powered offense scored 7 points through 3 quarters against the
okay. You'll appreciate this because it's the Bengals and football and whatever. And football is doing everything they can to be as anal retentive about stats as baseball is.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying it's not possible, but God, they're trying. And this was the stat at the end of this game. And I'm not going to remember the exact, you might remember, maybe it was a thing there. I don't know. But on the TV in Mexico, it said, this was the first time in, I'm going to make up a number, I don't remember, 40 games where the Bengals held an opponent.
Oh, it's more than 40 games. I think
points.
it's like 76 games.
Okay, whatever. And I was like, you know what? To 10 or fewer points. That's what it was. I was like, that's a stupid stat. That doesn't mean anything.
Yep.
Now, if it was 20 or fewer, your team would be in deep trouble. But 10, it's reasonable to expect a professional football team in the course of 4 quarters to score at least 10 points.
Yep.
You know, although yesterday, by the way, there were a bunch of 40, 50 something point games. What the frick is going on? Did they change the rules or something? You can't touch the quarterback now. What is happening? Right.
Well, the Bengals game should have been that. That's what everybody was expecting because they put up 38 points against the Ravens, who have the number 1 defense in the league, or like top 5 or whatever. Yeah. Then the Giants roll into town and are like, we can't throw the ball.
Yeah, but this is my one observation about football is that matchups don't make any sense. And literally that title and that phrase that's common to football, like any given Sunday, really does apply because you just have no idea. You could have the greatest team on earth, but somehow you match up against this team on that particular day.
Yep.
Just no idea.
Well, the Bengals play to the level of assery of the team they are playing. Like if they're playing a good team, they will play well. If they're playing a below average team, they will play to that level. So
you'll be pleased to know that the Giants in Mexico are referred to as the Gigantes. Because gigant, I like gigantes.
Do you get Spanish announcers for football games down there?
Yeah.
Oh, I bet they're better than what we get up here. Do they do it like they do soccer?
No. There's too much going on. So I have a hard time following it. I have to say I enjoy the Spanish broadcast because of the text on the screen, because that we can process, and my wife and I sit there and use it as all games like baseball, whatever, to sort of, that means, there's, it's kind of hard to explain, but there's like words, this is not sports related, but if you think about a word like change could mean like change, like we're changing the way we do things. It could mean I have coins, right? So when you were in Mexico, that's actually true as well, right? And so there are these words that have multiple meanings that sometimes in sports you're like, does that? And you're like, oh yeah, right. like that makes sense. It's just kind of a weird, I don't know. It's almost like an intellectual exercise at this point, but it kind of it's helping us to try to learn the language. But it depends on the game. Like sometimes they actually use the U.S. announcers, but the thing last night was Spanish.
Well, anyways, back to Moneyball. Steam makes it clear that users don't own their games, which anybody who uses these services and thinks about it for 5 seconds.
Yeah. I've been meaning to write about this, by the way. This is only tangentially related, but in the same way that Epic Games has these free games every month or whatever, you should, if you're a Prime member, Amazon Prime, like right now, go look like Google Prime Gaming. There's a bunch of games for free there. And this is the second month in a row where they've added a bunch. And they're available for some amount of time. And when you buy them, you get them for free. They're applied to some account. Like I did, which one was it? I can't remember the game, but Doom Eternal right now is free. And when you get it through them, you actually get it through Xbox.
Oh,
so
really?
It's on PC. Yeah. Like right now it's free. And, but there's a bunch of really good games. And some of them are like licenses for GOG, GOG.com.
Mm-hmm.
Some are Steam, although I haven't seen one yet this month, but last month they had some. And then some are just Amazon, like Amazon has games too, right? So PC games, obviously. But if you get I'm pretty sure when you get the PC version of Doom Eternal through Prime Gaming, it's Xbox actually. So I believe you get it on your console too. So I just did this the other day. It's worth looking at. Like it's I don't know if they've always done this and I just noticed it, but for some reason lately it's been kind of nuts. But to your point, yes, I guess their licenses, not real ownership, but they're not tied to Amazon or anything. Like once you own them, they're tied to those accounts. So you could drop Prime tomorrow. You don't lose it. It's not like the old games with gold thing or anything like that.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, pretty good, right?
Your top tip of the week. Actually, I did not know that.
I know. It's I don't know why I keep every time I see it, I'm like, oh God, I got to write about this. It's good.
Well, I hope people enjoyed this podcast. Paul doesn't know this. I gotta travel tomorrow, and I'll be back. We'll be back Thursday.
Yeah. Okay.
So I gotta travel.
It's good for me, man, because this show's so early in my. Even though Brad is, I should say, is nice enough to put it back an hour, but because of the 2-hour time change, it's still an hour early for me. Mm-hmm. So it would be 2 hours early, which would be horrible. It's more of a task when I'm here, if you will, like at 9 o'clock in the morning on the East Coast, like whatever, it's 9 o'clock, but like 8 o'clock, it's like me, glasses, hair like this, reading the paper on an iPad.
Yeah. So I'm your rooster.
Yeah. You are a lot like a rooster. Red hair and whatnot.